Konnichiwa, y'all, and welcome to the 10 at 10 on the MrMaple Show. This is the 10 at 10 for Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024. I'm Matt, that's my brother Tim, and open house is right around the corner.
Yeah, it's this weekend, Saturday, October 26th, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. You're going to be there. We got a costume contest going on, and guys, we're gonna give away something really cool to the winner of the costume contest.
Play talents. We're gonna give away some fun plants, guys. Be here. My daughters are already planning to help judge the costume contest. You know, maybe nobody else will dress up. You'll be the only one. So then you'll just win outright. But I think we're gonna get a good turnout for that. I might dress up. You might have to compete with me. Bring your A game. Show up here. I think around 10 a.m. we'll do the costume contest winner, something like that. So be here. We'll definitely film it. We'd love to see some ridiculous costumes. Halloween's that weekend. Have fun with it. Come and be part of the Maple Mafia and enjoy your day. Now, guys, we're starting out here with some giants on Vercade's Jackass potus.
Yeah, these are some XL 1 gallons of Vercade's Jackass potus, selection by Dave Vercade. You know, this is a 6-8 foot tree in 10 years. It leaves out in the early spring with some really nice, like apricot, kind of pumpkinish kind of colors. And to me, this is one of those cool angel feather Japanese maples.
Everybody knows the yellow dance. Not many people know the sessilifolium dance. You got one? No, sessilifoliums are one of Tim's all-time favorite plants. He used to be obsessed with the ses. The sessilifoliums were really some of his favorites. Vercade's Jackass potus, guys, it's one of the coolest ones. This is an apricot in the spring with pinks, yellows, oranges. There's so many colors going on. You could almost throw it in that category of like Phoenix or something for how big the spring display is on this one. I love it, but all on that angel feather style leaf.
Yeah, the angel feather style leaf is deeply divided. Each lobe looks like its own individual leaf, and that just gives this something a little bit extra. It gives a soft feel to an upright tree.
All right, great tree. Grab you one today in some huge sizes.
Speaking of huge sizes, we've got some large 1 gallons of Acer Pseudosanum.
Guys, look at those sizes. These are XL 1 gallons. They are excellent 1 gallons. Kurenagishi, the red line, always a fan favorite. We don't always have them in stock this big. Grab you one of these giants.
Yeah, this is the red line. It has the crinkled leaf like the lion's head Shishigashira. It's got a brick red color to maroon, and then the fall color, which is just right around the corner, is a bold orange. I
was showing some horticulturalists around the day, and in the garden he said, "Is this another Shishigashira?" And I said, "Man, you're close. I know they're green right now. It's October. We're right before the fall color, but these are actually going to be dark maroon in the spring with pinkish new growth. It is the mythological red lion, the reddest member of that lion's head family. Kurenagishi, always a fan favorite. Named by Yano-san, comes from a big heritage lineage there from Japan. One of the quintessential perfect container plants. You could put this in a big pot and be done with it. But one of the things that reminds me about Shishigashira is that spectacular fall color. You'll get some colors that really remind you of Shishigashira in its full splendor.
Yeah, and this is just a small dwarf Japanese maple. Fits in many places in their garden because it's so small in its stature. Great container tree as well, and an excellent tree if you wanted to try to do this as a bonsai.
Huge sizes, zones 5 through 9. Make one yours today.
Coming up next, we've got Acer Pseudosanum Islid.
Man, this thing sells out fast when we have it on MrMaple. This is a very cold tolerant hybrid between palmatum and Pseudosanum. Acer Pseudosanum is known to go all the way down to zone 4. This thing has phenomenal spring interest, but also amazing winter and fall interest.
Yeah, during the fall, you can really get some yellows infused with oranges and reds all across at the same time. It has fall colors of Acer Pseudosanum, but really the lace leaf cascading habit of a typical Acer palmatum dissectum. The leaves on Islid are a little bit larger as well, and you really get a nice emerald green on it, but new growth in the spring and in the summer is really like a pinkish color. So it gives you a little bit of something all across the season.
Typically a little bit more of a 6x6 in 10 years. You can stake this one and play with the shape a lot. It is quite vigorous. I love that large Pseudosanum leaf, guys. You're gonna love this too. You get a little bit of bronze and pinkening going on in the early spring over top of that green. It kind of blushes, has some colors infused into that green in the early spring. It's a showstopper and a fan favorite. They do tend to sell out. Grab you one on MrMaple today. What's next, Tim?
Guys, we've got Yamama Mumii. This is a mountain maple. That's what Yamama Mumii translates as. It's an Acer Matsumuri. This is one that was wild collected by Yataka Tanaka at Tsukasa Maple. And y'all, this is such a cool, deeply divided Japanese maple that gives you some really nice shades of yellows to oranges in the fall.
I have to say, this was a fan favorite in 2023. We're bringing it back again. A lot of people love this one. It's a little piece of that Japanese mountain hillside beauty that can be part of your garden. The original tree was selected, like Tim said, on a mountainside in Japan by our friends in Japan. You can own this little piece of nature and make it part of your garden. It definitely has a really cool vibe to it that kind of gives you that summery Japanese feel.
Yeah, and it really just grabs your attention. And this was a wild collected Acer Matsumuri in Japan. That's where it gets the name of Yamama Mumii. It's going to have a very multi-stemmed upright shape. It's going to have a nice semi-cascading branching to it and some phenomenal fall color. Guys, a real taste of Japan. We're talking about something that was actually found in the wild in Japan.
Yeah, really cool. Not a lot of cultivars that originate back to straight species wild collected status. We talk about a few of them here like Hong Long and things that they were so spectacular of a wild collection that they were worthy of cultivar status. Well, here's one coming at you today in a Matsumuri. You don't see that a lot with Acer Matsumuri. Absolutely a phenomenal plant. I think you're gonna love it. All right, y'all, we are bringing back Allen's Gold.
Allen's Gold is a spring interest Japanese maple, at least out in the spring, as a bright orange. And guys, it's yellow throughout the season with sunlight, and late summer it'll get more of a yellow green. But the spectacularness of Allen's Gold doesn't stop there. Guys, on top of the spring interest, it's a pine bark too.
Yeah, we were actually the first nursery to discover the pine bark qualities of this tree. I was on the phone with my friend Pat McCracken. I said, Pat, did you know this thing has pine bark qualities to it? He's like, no, I don't think so. I selected it for the spring color. I'm like, go back and look at it again, the big one. He hangs up, he calls me right back. He's like, it looks like Arakawa, guys. So we got super hyped. It's got that Nishikigawa Arakawa buckle going on in the bark. A little slower to develop it than, say, Nishikigawa, but it's certainly there, making this the very first spring interest pine bark tree. You can imagine the possibilities of that. It looks amazing in the landscape, but the bonsai artists are gonna go nuts over this one as it continues to get out there. Great size 1 gallons, y'all. I don't know if I can get this whole thing in the camera. These are phenomenal size Allen's Gold right now. Never been a better time to pick one up here on MrMaple and add it to your collection. These are grafted. I recommend planting them in the ground. You can do rooted cuttings or air layers from it, or just put this beast in the ground and enjoy that spring color with that amazing bark. I think it makes one of the best full-size trees, and that spring color, man, it can rival any yellow.
Now this is one that will sell out quickly, so check out quickly today. Remember, our website doesn't hold it for you to complete that checkout process.
Whoosh, I'm fishing you in. I've had a lot of requests for this one to come back. What do we got next, Tim?
We got Acer Palmatum Red Filigree Lace. This is one of those trees that's just simply amazing. There's not a lot quite like it. The red lace leaf holds its color in deep shade, which is pretty spectacular. And it's one of the slowest growing of any of the red lace leaves.
It's hard to photograph. The foliage is so small and delicate. Joe's actually got some great shots going on for us with this one now, but it's hard to get a true representation of how delicate and dainty this foliage looks, although it's a very durable plant. 3x3, even in a 10-year period, making it one of the all-time smallest lace leaves.
A fantastic container plant, a great container plant for a porch, especially a more shaded situation where many of the other red lace leaves will green up. This one will typically hold its color fairly well in a container throughout the season. And for a cold tolerant, slow growing, easy, low maintenance tree, red filigree lace is awesome. And it looks very, very dainty, but this thing is durable. And it's one of those things that can handle, a lot more cold than some of the other Japanese maples, and it's possibly because of its really slow growth. Yeah,
zones 5 through 9 on this one. Also that small stature, phenomenal for container gardening, guys. Makes a perfect container plant. And Tim touched on it, but phenomenal at holding that red even in a shady spot. I really can't say enough good things about that. All around, it's an A+ tree. You can grab you some big high grafts. They're grafted about right here. Great looking plants, hitting the 10 at 10 again today.
Next up, we've got some 1 gallons of Acer Japonica Meikujaku. The dancing peacock Japanese maple is back, and this is one of the better fall color Japanese maples. Gives you some really nice yellows, oranges, and reds, and the fall color changes based on the length of the day, so you get a fairly consistent fall color on this Acer Japonica.
I've had this be electric orange. It's some of my favorite fall color. I've had this be red and yellow at the same time. You get just so many crazy colors going on Meikujaku. It's one of the best fall colored plants. Red tassel flower in the early spring. It's probably our most popular Acer Japonicum selection. I think the name Dancing Peacock does it some favors too. It's pretty cool. When you turn the leaf sideways, it kind of looks like a big peacock fan. It's going to show out in your yard. It's peacocking for sure.
This Dancing Peacock, it's just one of those trees that it's one of our very first Acer Japonicums. It's the Acer Japonicum I judge all other Acer Japonicums against. It's very unique and different. It's got that upright structure, but the leaf is more divided. And when it does that, it just gives this very unique tropical feel out there in the landscape. When this tree does go to that fall color though, it does look like a peacock. It does look like it's peacocking.
It's peacocking out, man. You're gonna love this one. It rocks out in the fall. You're gonna love it. It is absolutely amazing. All right, y'all, let's bring back from the peacock to the flamingo. We got red flamingo.
Guys, we got some XL 1 gallons right now of red flamingo. They got some good size to them. These things are awesome. This is, some people say Acer conspicuum. A lot of people now are saying Acer rubescens. This was found as just an extremely variegated sport on silver cardinal. And to me, this is one of the most striking of any of the snake barks.
Those snake barks, they're pretty promiscuous. They're one of the hardest plants to identify. Like the baby daddy's really hard to know who it is with snake barks, man.
That's for sure.
They blend in a lot in the landscape. So you got to get almost a real specialist to tell you. Red flamingo is one of the most show-stopping plants we grow. The bark is crazy, the foliage is crazy. It's a white pink to a pink on green, white on green in the summer. Guys, the fall color where this leaf hits red, it can be pink on red with red stemming. It is so next level. Make sure to give this one some good drainage. We find from our native snake barks that they like to grow up next to structures. Put a snake bark up next to your shed or up next to your house. Almost put it somewhere where it's gonna lean on something. Doesn't have to lean on it, but put it near something in a structure. They absolutely love that setting. Keeps them a little bit drier. I also like putting them on hills. You'll get some of the best winter interest out of red flamingo you've ever seen because that pink-red bark shows out all winter long.
Yeah, I think people forget that a snake bark has snake bark. It's got snake-like bark on the bark itself. You get this amazing red with striations in it that looks like snake skin. And that just is something unique and different you don't get out of many trees. This is one of those snake bark selections that's gonna be very different. It's variegated, it's got that pink color in there, and the bark itself stands out and is a bark interest all in the garden all winter long.
It's a snake you won't be afraid to be bitten by in the garden because once you get bitten by this variegation, it's gonna be one of your favorites. Absolutely love this plant. Foliage, texture, bark interest, gonna work zones 5 through 9. Give it some late day shade for the best accentuation of that variegation. Grab you a red flamingo on MrMaple.com today.
Guys, next up, we've got Hydrangea, Little Honey. This is a yellow oak leaf hydrangea. Y'all, this is phenomenal. It's got that yellow color to the leaves. And this is an oak leaf hydrangea. It's got those big white blooms as well.
Yeah, phenomenal color. That bright yellow is a showstopper. Put this next to that red flamingo. You're gonna love your dynamic interest you have different there. This yellow foliage is some of the most popular amongst all hydrangeas. They do tend to sell out. I love pairing this with something like Miss Sayori because you get that dark red foliage of that golden yellow Little Honey. It's one of our most popular hydrangeas we ever list here on Mr. Maple.
Yeah, for me, this is just such a rock star. The big leaves themselves. This is also one of the best fall color hydrangeas. You're gonna get some really nice shades of red in the fall on this oak leaf hydrangea. An awesome tree to add.
All right, y'all, last but not least, let's bring back yellow Cascade. One more time, I'm gonna remind you though, we've got our open house coming up October 26th. That's gonna be from 8 to 4, costume contest. It's gonna be a ruckus time here at Mr. Maple.
Yeah, yellow Cascade has this really strong weeping habit. This is such a cool Japanese maple to add in the garden. It's got that Ryusen style and a butter yellow color. That means that you can take this tree, stake it up, shape it, train it however you like. You know it's gonna have that heavily cascading habit and some good yellow color to add to the garden.
It is one of the most interesting butter yellows you'll ever see. Spread across some bread. You can put this one in the garden and not stake it. It'll be more of a low cascading umbrella, kind of spread out and make a low platform for you. If you stake it up, you can get this one about as tall as you want. I recommend staking it to about 5 to 6 feet and letting it weep down from there. It's an absolute dynamic star in the garden.
Y'all, that's our 10 trees. We've got 10 more secret ones on our weekly email. Check that out to figure out the other 10 trees. These get listed on our website at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Take care.
God bless.
Have a great day.